What I'm not accepting of is that you can't be an athlete male transitioning to a female to play female sports. That don't fly for me. That's
Right.
straight up cheating. That's not right. Now, if you still want to play sports, then let's be 100. Get you a transgender team going. Be pave that way. You know what I mean? Make that happen or
Right.
something. But don't try to come out here. You couldn't make it with the fellas. You finna ball on the chicks. That don't make no sense to me.
Right.
Like to
My
me,
thing is, they're
that's
just,
what I'm not okay with.
to me, they're taking more of an L playing female sports because they make less. If that makes sense. Like if they would have just played in the male sport, they're making way more money.
It ain't
But
even
since they're,
about the like. I don't even think it's about the money though. I feel like it's the more sense of I'm better than everybody else, but you really not better than everybody else because you got a disadvantage. There's a woman who's also she's an Olympic swimmer, and the guy he's a transitioning from a male to a female. He beating all the female records, but he's a dude. That don't make no sense. That's not right. That's not fair. This girl worked pretty much her whole life to be a swimmer. She trained hard. She did this, and she's losing to a guy who wants to be a woman. How is that fair to her?
I don't know too much about it, but I do know when you're taking estrogen, you pretty much lose all male muscles and energy, I guess, right? I'm not 100% sure how it
I don't
works.
know the science to that, but who's to say they are taking that? Because you can't take anything. You can't take no performance enhancement things. So
Right.
and I'm not sure if that's what they're doing when they're allowed to play these female sports, but I'm pretty sure not a lot of them are taking those things to de-escalate their abilities. Because nevertheless, though, your muscle memory is still playing from a male's perspective. Your
Right.
strength, your ability, you playing with dudes, now you playing with females. You definitely are a lot more faster, stronger than them to begin with. I saw another one, MMA fighter who transitioned from male to female. He's dominating the female league in the MMA. How is that possible? This is a dude beating up on chicks saying, I'm winning. Just like this, muscles, everything. I'm like, come on, bro. How that makes sense?
It's kind of like Joanna Man.
The movie, Joanna Man, exactly. You couldn't
Yes.
you couldn't cut it. You couldn't like it's like you couldn't make it on the male league, but then so you decided to alter your being, your personality, so you can get trophies and accolades and win things, so you can feel good about yourself. I'm not trying to knock anybody for feeling good about yourself, but you gotta understand it's not fair to the people that trained hard for decades and eons of years or whatever to finally make the stride to be in a league of their own. There's a women's league. There's a woman's league. When you're a transgender male, you can be who you want to be. Cool. Ain't nobody saying you can't change your identity and live a happy life. You can do that. But I don't think you should change your identity and then say, let me compete with the women. That doesn't
Uh,
make any sense.
well, the thing that only thing I can say about that is that I learned in life is never judge somebody's shoes until you're in it. You know what I'm saying? So whatever they're going through, whatever the life they're living through, we don't know it. We don't fully understand it. Understand it. And I feel like that's okay because just because we don't understand something doesn't mean we have to discriminate on it. You know, because they can be living a whole lifestyle where they wanted to be a professional swimmer their whole life, but they just couldn't do it with the feminine energy they have. So maybe the men's didn't accept them. So maybe they transgender over. Maybe they're more accepted over there. Again, I just feel like I learned in life: never judge a book by its cover. Never judge a book because of what you were born to be, but who you grown in, what you grown into being. You know what I'm saying? Like as long as they're a good spirit person and they want to live their best life doing sports as in a female league, male league, I feel like to each his own. Like life just it shouldn't surprise you anymore, but we shouldn't judge it. That would show our character.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah.
So then one of the things you said was, people being born this way. So do you believe that in general, people who have a different gender identity are born this way? Or do you feel like it's something potentially that could have happened to them that made them this way? Or like, what do you feel intuitively?
I really feel like it's a mixture of both.
Hmm.
Like there's some kids who come straight out the womb, like some boys that come straight out the womb, they're ready to put on a dress, ready to put on heels, like they're already living in their truth. And then there's some people who just went through trauma of being raped. And you know what I'm saying? There's some people who just like who's been hurt so bad by that gender that they got resentment towards it.
Right.
So I feel like there's no one way about it. I feel like it's different reasons. Some people are doing it for attention, some doing it for trauma, and some doing it because they were naturally just born into it.
Right. Right.
Because I feel like this gay stuff started way before us.
Yeah, it really did. I know I was watching something the other day, and there's these people from the 60s talking about how they had these long term roommates and they were really their partners, but it was so unaccepted back
It's
then that
been
they
around for
just,
a very
Right.
long time. It's been around for a
yeah,
very, very long time.
Right.
It's
Can I
just
get a
that
picture of your
it's
sister?
always it was always done behind the scenes. It was never publicly open. You know what I mean?
right,
While you may think a person is
Huh?
because of their mannerism and how they're acting, there was nothing that was like in your face. It's more so like reserved and kept behind the closet.
right. So then,
Order food.
with that, going back to the transgender topic, what are your thoughts on transitioning, like surgically or medically transitioning?
Personally,
Mm.
I wouldn't do it because I'm happy with being a woman. You know, there's no point in me saying I'm living in my truth and then wanting to get a surgical change.
Oh,
So I'm
that was a
happy in my
whole
truth.
message right there.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm happy in my truth. I'm happy with the gender that I am. I'm happy with my life. But some people I can understand why they do it because they wake up and they're not comfortable in their
Right,
skin.
right,
You know, some people don't like being called a female. Don't like to sit down when they pee. Some don't like another woman calling them hitting their titties or playing with their vagina. Like it's so many reasons behind it that I can just understand it. I'm very understanding when it comes to it. But
right,
for myself personally, I just wouldn't see myself doing that because I already lived in my truth for so long that I accepted who I am for so long that
right.
I'm okay with who I am.
I never thought about it from that perspective. Like as somebody who feels like you're in the wrong body, how that would be magnified during like a sexual experience. Like if you feel like
Yeah.
you're a man, but somebody's playing, like you said, playing with your vagina, like that's
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
crazy.
like,
Like I
damn.
never thought about that.
Yeah. So my friend that was on here, Bullet, like, he's a real testimony for me because he helped me see ways of like he explained to me like he just didn't like being a he calls it a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Nobody ever called me a bitch. If they do, I correct them. But he was just like I call females bitches, but I don't want to be called a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like he was just telling me like how unhappy he is with it.
With what?
Okay.
Unhappy with what?
Unhappy with being in a female's body.